Hello, my name is Roboverse. Today, I'll be continuing with where we left off with Loki and Sylvie, and discussing the events that unfold between them in the 4th episode. In the previous part, I explained why I shipped them, and if you haven't watched that part yet, I highly suggest you do so before you watch this video. And as per usual, I'll be covering spoilers regarding Loki, so go watch the 4th episode if you haven't yet. But with that being said, let's begin. At the start of the 4th episode, we see Loki and Sylvie holding each other's hands on Lamentis right when they both think they're about to die. It was just a beautiful, yet poetic moment at the same time. I was expecting Sylvie to be mad and all after they both saw the Ark get destroyed, but surprisingly, she remained calm and somber. She was willing to embrace her death amongst the thousands of apocalypses she hid in, and there's a good reason for that. She knew that as long as she died with Loki by her side, someone she bonded with, she could finally feel at peace. And not only did she have the courage to tell Loki about her turbulent past with the TVA, we also see her say this to Loki.
Do you think that what makes a Loki is the fact that we're destined to lose?
And as for Loki, despite also anticipating their imminent death, he still tries to cheer her up with a sense of optimism. He basically says that no matter how many times they fail or lose, they always live to fight another day. He knows this, of course, because he himself has been in that very situation multiple times throughout his life. And like Loki, Sylvie has also experienced turmoil throughout her life, but she managed to survive. She managed to resist the very beings who tried hunting her down, and Loki praises her for it. Afterwards, the moment they held each other's hands was not only indicative of their love, but it was also similar to another romantic moment, albeit not from the MCU. The scene where Loki and Sylvie hold each other right when they think they're about to die directly parallels the scene in Rogue One where Jin and Cassian hug each other as the Death Star blows up Scarif. Then, after getting arrested by the TVA, we see Loki and Sylvie shoot a look of concern towards each other after being dragged into different interrogation rooms, and even Mobius shipped them both during this episode. He lied to Loki about Sylvie getting pruned, and we see a look of sadness and concern on Loki's face. Loki deeply cared for Sylvie after all they went through on Lamentis, from them bonding on the train to holding hands with her. When Mobius sees the despair in Loki's eyes, he teases Loki for having a crush on Sylvie, or as he put it,
You like her. Does she like you? You fell for yourself.
That scene genuinely made me laugh. The fact that Mobius teased Loki about him loving Sylvie just made the ship look even more official to me. Loki even sternly questions him about whether Sylvie is alive or not, indicating that he really wants to save her if he still can, and lets out a sigh of relief when Mobius tells him she's still alive. Even when Loki is being escorted back to his time cell, he admits that he can respect Mobius' suspicions of him having a crush on Sylvie, and only gets mad at him for other reasons. Finally, when Loki and Sylvie are being escorted to the Timekeepers, Sylvie tries to ask Loki if he is okay or not, and after they battled with the TVA guards and found out the Timekeepers were fake, one of the most pivotal moments in their romantic arc happens. Both Loki and Sylvie look worn out, as if what had happened to them on both Lamentis and at the TVA has taken a toll on them both. But despite all that, Loki tries to assure Sylvie that everything will be alright, and that they will figure it all out. Perhaps he reminded her of what he said earlier back on Lamentis.
We may lose. Sometimes painfully. But we don't die. We survive.
However, just before Loki could confess something important to Sylvie, he unexpectedly got pruned by Ravonna. We then see Sylvie at a loss of words, perhaps feeling heartbroken, and the episode ends with her trying to interrogate Ravonna. But what was Loki going to say to her? Well, it's obvious to me, it's obvious to you, and it's obvious to everyone. Loki was going to tell Sylvie that he truly loved her, and was quite possibly going to kiss her until Ravonna had to step in and just ruin everything. The fact that Loki was willing to confess his true love to Sylvie after all they had been through goes to show that Loki had found a true soulmate he could not only relate to, but also one that he could trust, and it changed him as a person. Love and friendship are often the keys to success for the protagonists in many stories, and the MCU is no exception to this. In the Avengers movies, the Avengers all won when they were together, and they only lost when they were split apart. Loki knew that no matter how hard it would take to solve the mystery behind the TVA, as long as they had their love and trust for one another, they would eventually come out on top. Even the credits of this episode showed how Loki and Sylvie were essentially in love, as the theme song is titled If You Love Me. I can't play it now due to copyright, but the music in the credits was simply beautiful, and it reminded me of the credits theme from Endgame between Steve and Peggy. It wasn't nearly as compelling as the latter, but both songs had to do with romantic love, and this one in particular definitely suited Loki and Sylvie. The third and fourth episodes truly showed their romantic arc developing from reluctant soulmates to full-on lovers. Regardless of what anyone says, Loki and Sylvie truly love one another, and nothing will change my mind. They truly care for each other, and in the next and final part of this mini-series, I will discuss the events that transpire between them in the last 2 episodes of the season, and we will see the direction their romantic arc takes. See you then, and have a good rest of your day.